Okay, we're set up. You're probably not even going to watch this video, or at least you're not going to watch it all the way through, are you? And I know that, actually. I know that you're probably not going to watch this all the way through, even if I say something that actually might resonate quite a lot with you. But you're probably not going to watch this all the way through because I see it. I see it in myself, and I see it on the back end of my videos on YouTube, where our attention span has become so bad that if a video doesn't get you hooked within the first 30 seconds, then you just go to the next video, because there is a endless amount of content and you need your brain to be stimulated to give you them hormones or whatever it is, the endorphins or whatever that hormone is, to pleasure your brain and keep that attention span going. And I see it on the back end of my videos. If you have a video that has upwards of 50% of people watching it after the first 30 seconds, then that's a success. That's considered a success on YouTube, which is sad, isn't it, really? I mean, we're at over a minute. So if you're watching this video now, then maybe you'll watch it all the way through. And I applaud you for that, if that's the case. You might be like, Luke, why are you rambling on in this video? And it's because I wanted to talk about something that, I don't know, I feel quite isolated in this feeling. And I don't know whether other people resonate with this. And I wanted to put this out there to start a discussion to see if there are other people that actually resonate with what I'm about to say. I feel like I'm living in two worlds, basically. There's this modernized world I'm living in where I like playing video games with high tech, and I like watching YouTube videos, and I like to go to the movies, and I like to do all these things, and I like to get book suggestions on YouTube, and I like to see the latest camera recording gear, or, you know, all this tech stuff. And then there's a different part of me that just wants to give it all up and not have any technology. I want my front room to not even have a TV. Like, we've got to a point now where what used to be a hearth, and that was the central part of a living room. Like, if you could think of, you know, maybe your grandparents' house, the couch or the chairs would be centered around the fireplace. But now it's centered around the TV. The TV is the focal point. We've changed our hearth from the fire to the TV. And it's not that we don't still crave sitting around a fire, because we do. We all love go camping. We all love to go camping and sit around a fire, don't we? We love looking at the fire. And yet we've decided that it's not entertaining enough when the TV is. And so I'm living in these two worlds where I want my house to be tech free. I want to, like, be bored and just read a book and, like, not have technology dictate my whole life. And yet there's this other part of my life where I do like watching the PlayStation conference to see the new games coming out. I'm excited for the new Fable. You know, I'm excited for these new games. But at the same time, there's part of me that knows that the stuff that's being created now is getting shitter. Isn't it? The games are getting worse. The stories in TV is getting worse. The videos on YouTube seem to be getting worse. Tech seems to be breaking easier. And yes, it might, when you open it out the box, be better than what you've got right now. But over time, it depletes way quicker. And therefore, it is worse than what it was. And so it's as if technology is advancing, but the meaning and the desire for, no, not the desire, but the reward of technology is depleting. And part of me just wants to have a wood fire at night and sit around the wood fire with my kids and read a book to them and have a very, very simple life. But we're trapped, aren't we? We're trapped in this modern world. It's almost as if we're animals that have been taken out of our habitat and put in a zoo, and now we're forming some sort of coping mechanism of rocking in a chair to get us by, because we're mentally we're mentally dissolving in this world. I've got so many notes to talk about here, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because I watch content on YouTube through the military stuff. I see a lot of AI stuff being made, and you might be like, "Oh my God, Luke's talking about AI again," but it's true. I'm talking about it because I have a similar ethos, as far as I'm aware, as Tolkien. Lord of the Rings Tolkien. He wrote the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion, the Hobbit, the Unfinished Tales, all these beautiful books. His translation of Beowulf and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and I love reading all his stuff, but I also love his ethos, where he's depicted the orcs as these people these creatures that create for the sake of creating things that are better at destroying, rather than creating things for beauty. And I see that in the modern world. He has this beautiful quote that I've got here on my technology because I had to Google it because I can't remember what page it's on. They make no beautiful things, but they make clever ones. Hammers, axes, swords, daggers, pickaxes, tongs, and other instruments of torture they make very well, or get other people to make their designs. It is not unlike that they invented some of the machines that they since troubled the world, especially the indigenous devices for killing large numbers of people at once. For wheels and engines and explosions always delight them. In The Hobbit. And I thought about that, and you can't help but have that as a mirror image of the way the internet is now. You see content that is designed to be clever. Not beautiful, not innovative, not creative, nothing to inspire, but to be clever and to specifically just keep attention to make more money. And I see that side of it, and I see my life also being taken up with that. I mean, look at my phone, right? Let's look at my usage, my screen usage, average per day. 5 hours and 18 minutes. 5 hours and 18 minutes of my time being looking at a device. And I'm guilty. I'm not making this video to convince you to go minimal, right? I think the whole idea of minimalism is also a byproduct of self-optimization that we're seeing constantly online as well. The idea that if your life isn't perfectly optimized, you're not getting the perfect sleep, eating the perfect foods, doing the certain perfect exercise, reading the perfect self-help book, doing all these perfect things that these podcasters talk about. That's not reality either. The simple life is being bored, and the moving of your body is going for a walk. And these distractions of 5 hours and 18 minutes on my phone, I'm a culprit of it as well. I do it as well, and I feel like I don't want to say addicted to it, but it's like I'm torn between these two worlds, which is the premise of this video. And I'm worried that our kids are seeing that as well. Now, I had a friend of mine say, why are you not using AI more, and why are you not just taking advantage of AI and getting on board, because it's going to be here, it's inevitable, it's there. And I thought to myself, yeah, you're right, it's there. But everything that has been inevitable in the past, certain social medias like TikTok that I never really got involved with, they're all adapted by young people. Young people adapt them and they love them, and then they become mainstream. Whereas as AI, it seems to be old people pushing the narrative of AI, and young people don't want anything to do with it. They're rejecting it. And so in my opinion, it seems like maybe people are moving away from that. Maybe we're going to have two types of civilizations in the future. One where they completely integrate themselves with technology, and the other one where they completely disconnect and become analog, the digital and the analog. And there's a lot of people that will be forced into the digital because of FOMO. Because they're so worried that their kids are not going to keep up. They're so worried because they're not going to know the latest news. They're so worried that they're going to fall behind financially, that they are forced to go in the digital world rather than the analog world that in truth would most likely make the majority of people happier. Healthier, happier, better physical health and mental health. I take this other idea as well. And I see this in the world of discovering books. I love watching YouTubers who talk about books. It's very niche, right? And I think there's like a microcosm of this idea that there is a popularity contest within YouTube, within book YouTubers, about what the best books are. And I follow them trends. And I follow the books that are the most popular. And there's some sort of pedigree to that, where if the majority of people are pushing a book, the chances are it's probably a good book. And there's some truth to it as well. But I also believe there's a lot of other good books out there that are not pushed by the YouTube narrative, that are also really good. They just don't get that discovery. And because people are following the trends, they're less likely to go and look for their own books and discover books and find something they love themselves. And that's like a microcosm of this situation, where people are pushing towards what everyone else are doing, thinking that that's what's going to make them happy. And maybe in the short term it will, but in the long term, it's probably not going to do that. Basically, that happened to me with this book. I went to Waterstones and I was just browsing. I like reading books about fantasy, sci-fi, and nature. That's like my three. Oh, and historical fiction. And I found this book, Against the Machine by Paul Kingsnorth. And I didn't pick it up at first. I looked at it and I thought, you know what, it's probably going to be quite depressing, because I'm already well aware of the rise of data centers and AI and this fight against the machine. So I didn't pick it up. But then I went back and I saw it again. And I thought, all right, go on, I'll give it a go then. Go on, I'll give it a go. And Paul Kingsnorth, this quite interesting guy, actually. He's quite eccentric and strange in a way, where he lives this simple life. But he describes the machine, and the idea of the machine, he doesn't really give a good description. Well, he gives a good description for it, but he doesn't give like a statement on what it actually is. But it's one of them things that is so abstract that we all kind of know. If I say to you, the machine, you probably are aware of what I'm talking about. Whether that be the data centers, the rise of AI, the digital ID, the constant connection of the internet, the idea that everything needs Wi-Fi, from your fridge to your kettle to your bed to your shower head. Everything needs AI and Wi-Fi, and AI can optimize it. You probably understand what the machine is. You can't really define it in a statement. And his idea is that fighting against that is probably something we should be doing. And he makes a lot of good statements in there, and it resonated with me quite substantially, actually, about how the machine is not giving us anything, but we're pursuing it anyway. And it's destroying people and cultures. And what he describes as the West, which is also another thing that you can't really define what it is. And that almost the West is become so abstract and depleted now that its only way of surviving is for it to be destroyed and to begin anew because of technology. And part of me, and I don't know about all you lot as well, probably why I'm making this video, makes me wonder that, like, we're getting to a point now where there's certain people that almost wish there was some sort of zombie apocalypse where things can be disconnected. And it's not just for the fact that we don't have to be monitored by, the government anymore. It's more the fact that you're going back to this hunter-gatherer life. And it's the idea that the apocalypse forces you to do that, so you have no choice. And so you're forced to disconnect from this digital world, and you are forced to live in the analog world. And people kind of want that, kind of desire that. So why can't we just choose to live analog? Why can't I just have my digital world where I work, and then every other aspect of my life is analog? Why do I feel like stuck when I want to slow down? Because at the end of the day, if we keep pursuing this machine, we're going to stop creating. We're going to stop the most beautiful parts of humanity. I'm reading a book right now, actually, another one, a fantasy book called Malice, right? Really, really good book by John Gwynne. In fact, his two sons, they have a YouTube channel called The Brothers Gwynne, and they give book recommendations, like I was talking about earlier. They do fantasy, sci-fi, some sci-fi, mostly like historical fiction. Highly recommend them. Really, really good. This is a completely, unique book. There's tropes in here, right? It's a classic, young boy becomes the big dude type of fantasy novel. You see it in The Wheel of Time. You see it in so many different books. But the book itself is a beautiful piece of art that is unique, right? And yet, we're pursuing a world through AI that creates nothing new. It takes what is already created and just pushes out more crap. And is it going to get to a point where if we pursue the machine, this digital world so much, that this absolutely unique part of being human, the most beautiful part of being human, our imagination and our understanding and ability to create absolutely unique things can be depleted and gone and be surrendered to stuff that's already been created, put in a blender and spat back out again. This innovation that humans have could be stamped on by something that we're pursuing. I don't know why I'm making this video. I think there's part of me that's like, I just want to get the word out there. I want to talk about this to people. And the chances are, if you're at this point of the video at the end, it's probably like 10% of you left here anyway. And so there should be a discussion about, am I unique in this feeling? This book says I'm not. And this book has sold quite a few copies. But everywhere I look, it feels like I am. And so because of the digital world, of me being able to go out and look online, I'm finding other people who have the same opinion of me. Because I'm able to look through the digital world at this stuff. But the truth is, the people I meet in the analog world, in the real world, a lot of them are just indifferent. A lot of them just embrace it. And I feel isolated in that sense. In the fact that I don't want my kids to have digital ID. I don't want them to be locked in on paywalls to access anything. Whether that be artwork or whether that be nature. Because right now, if I want to go to Delamere Forest, I have to pay. I have to pay to go to a forest. I have to pay to be in the habitat that I should be in 24/7. We have to have subscriptions now to watch something that should be a beautiful piece of artwork that you should just have to pay once for. And I guess you can still do that. You can still buy DVDs and stuff. But people do Netflix now. It's very much often that people don't even go cinemas anymore and they just rather wait for it to come onto a streaming service where you'll watch it once and then it'll go away forever and you just don't watch it again. Whereas I feel like books, like this one here, your favourite books, your favourite movies, your favourite TV shows, makes more sense to watch or read them more than once. I would rather have my kids play Ocarina of Time on a GameCube where it's disconnected. There's no DLC like the new Grand Theft Auto 6 where apparently you have to pay for the Ultimate Edition to be able to change your hairstyle in the game. What? I would rather them just put in a cartridge or a disc and play, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers on GameCube or, Pikmin on GameCube, or even the original Crash Bandicoots, or the original Mario Karts, or the original Halos split screen with their friends disconnected from the online world. I'd rather them do that. then constantly have to come up to me and be like, I want to buy this DLC on Minecraft. I want to buy this extra haircut on GTA when they're older. Seems like we're heading in a direction of constantly paying and owning nothing. And one day we're going to have to pay to go to any bit of nature. Or at least that's the direction we're going in. So, anyway, this might be just a bunch of nothing. You might not agree with it, but if you do agree with it and you're at the end of this video, let me know in the comments.